when you went up there and made that call, your intent was to destroy me, right? And I didn't do anything to him. We never had any conversation.
And you all were trying to go to Disneyland.
Welcome to Racist of the Week. This is where we expose the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we can build a more perfect union and also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the page, and definitely leave me any possible suggestions for nominees in the comments. Today's nominee, United Airlines. Now, I just want to flash back to a prior episode of Racist of the Week where American Airlines was featured in this exact space.
Yo, I paid for the flight just like everybody else. So we don't have a right to be on this flight?
So this is discrimination.
Yo, this is insane.
I agree. Yo, just because of the color of my skin. Correct. Okay.
I do not disagree.
Now, the link to that video is in the description, and apparently not wanting American to suffer alone, United is now in on the action as former Denver Bronco and two-time Super Bowl champion Terrell Davis claimed he was wrongfully accused of hitting a flight attendant on Saturday while asking for a cup of ice.
Going down the aisle with the cart, asked my son if you for
How old
drinks.
is your son?
He's 13.
13, okay.
13. And so my son simply asked him after he had served me, he said, "May I please have a cup of ice?" And the flight attendant didn't hear him, so he pushed the cart past me because I'm in the aisle. And I reached over lightly, I put my hand up first, and I was trying to get his attention, and he didn't see it, so I politely tapped him on his shoulder. And when I did that, he swung his arm around, and he said, "Don't hit me." And
Were you surprised that was his reaction?
Oh, absolutely.
And
My hands
what's
out, I
your
was like, what are you
definition,
talking about?
Terrell, of a light tap? You know?
That's
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
tapping my wife the same way I tapped him,
Yeah.
just to get his attention.
Terrell Davis's children were excited about their California vacation when their father was unexpectedly handcuffed and removed from a United Airlines flight.
You know, he rushed to the front of the plane, he left the cart there, but I didn't think anything of it. Like, okay, whatever. He had his little moment there, but
Did other passengers say anything?
yeah, one passenger in front of me turned around and said that you didn't hit him. He said, "I saw it. You didn't hit him." I was like, "Yeah, of course I didn't hit him." And so I thought nothing of it. That was it.
So when did you all realize there was a problem?
When we landed in Orange County, and they told everybody on the plane to remain in their seats because they didn't give us they didn't say why.
They said everybody...
But I thought it was because there was a medical emergency. I had been on planes before. I've seen that before. They say stay on a plane, let paramedics come on, and then you get off.
You didn't think it had anything to do with you.
I am reading a magazine at that point. Reading the magazine, my kids are over there, my wife's over there, and all of a sudden you can kind of hear, you can hear all the gear and the walkie-talkies and a lot of commotion. And I peeked into the aisle, and I see all the agents. I see FBI on the jacket. I see the green, I think it was the Orange County Sheriff Department.
Yeah.
And they were walking back toward the plane, and as they get closer to my seat, they come straight to me. And the agent walks up to me, and he leans over, whispers, "Don't fight it," and put the cuffs on me.
Davis, by the way, is still waiting for a direct apology from United. The incident occurred Saturday at the end of a flight from Denver to Orange County, California. Davis summarized everything on Instagram. Now, at this point, I kind of want to put a pin on things because anybody can have a bad day. Anybody can react angrily at work without sufficient provocation. But in this specific instance, elevating it to violence, an accusation of somebody striking you, doing it on a plane, and doing it to a black man, despite the fact that he is with his family, is an outrageous abuse of power. And not to mention one that could have substantial ramifications, especially if the person involved was not rich and or a two-time Super Bowl champion.
I was not aware of any incident.
Yeah. So, from your point of view, the agents come on and arrest your husband.
And I'm curious, just like the rest of the flight, like, oh, you know, what's happening? And I see them go straight to Terrell and put him in handcuffs. And I jumped up and I said, wait a minute. And I said, what are you doing? Like, what? And I kept asking Terrell, I said, is this a joke? Like, are you joking? I thought, like, what else could it be, right?
Yes.
This is some cruel practical prank he's pulling on me.
No.
And you just have all these emotions going through panic.
And your children, you have 3 children, ages what, and what?
Our boys are 13 and 11, and they were seated next to Terrell, and our daughter is 9.
After Davis was taken off the plane, we were just left to fend for ourselves on a flight with everyone staring at us. Now, here is a point where I want to go back to something that was said earlier, where he talked about the effect on his family. You have the mental and emotional effect on his family, which could be longer lasting and is much more significant. You have the actual direct effect on his family, the fact that they removed him from the flight without any understanding of how that was going to affect their situation or where exactly they were supposed to go or what exactly they were supposed to do. I would also like to point out the fact that this is something that apparently happened before the flight, which means that this flight attendant had ample time in order to calm himself down and correct his story of the sequence of events. I don't want to hear anything about this is something that got out of control. I don't want to hear anything about this was something that was reactionary. Apparently, there was ample time for this to have been corrected. Later, during questioning, it was rightfully determined by the agents that this flight attendant was inaccurate in his accusations, and the agents profusely apologized, Davis wrote. United Airlines has removed the flight attendant from duty while we closely review this matter.
Well, they apologized. And they said that, listen, if I needed anything, they were there to help. But they realized that what the guy had said. And the biggest problem for me was that the intent of the flight attendant. When you went up there and made that call, your intent was to destroy me, right? And I didn't do anything to him. We never had any conversation.
And you all were trying to go to Disneyland.
We were going on vacation.
I mean, there are so many layers to this story.
Yeah.
The company said in an email on Monday evening. Now, it's clearly not the kind of travel experience we strive to provide, and we have reached out to Mr. Davis's team to apologize, said the email. But Davis said they've not reached out to me to apologize. They've reached out to my attorney, but I haven't heard from them directly, and so that, to me, is a problem. And I would agree, if that's something that I happen to go through, I don't want to hear about you reaching out to my attorney. I need you to holler at me. A similar refrain as I had in Wisconsin with Mr. Matt Eady and him reaching out to the attorney of the superintendent that he handled as opposed to the man himself in order to claim that it wasn't racism. I've never known to need an attorney in order to defend you from accusations from racism.
Oh.
I don't want him to be able to shake her down because he doesn't deserve it from her and all the she went through in this district.
I'm not aware of allegations or Dr. Briggs doing anything to your daughter specifically.
No, it wasn't him specifically.
The traumatizing experience of my 2 sons, my daughter, and my wife watching me be placed in handcuffs without due process or any explanation cannot be undone, he wrote on Instagram. The FBI's Los Angeles field office acknowledged on Monday that agents and law enforcement partners responded to a report of an incident with a flight that landed Saturday at Orange County's John Wayne Airport. A person who was detained for questioning was cooperative with law enforcement and was released to continue his travels. That's what the FBI office said. And kudos to Terrell Davis for being cooperative with law enforcement because, Lord knows, it speaks to the kind of quick math that we have to do despite your anger and righteous indignation in a situation, knowing that if you were to react the way that you feel you're justified in reacting, things will actually get far worse before they get better. The FBI does not provide details of incidents or names of people who might have been interviewed unless charges are filed publicly. That was according to the FBI spokesperson. What happened on the flight is appalling and disturbing to say the least. That was from Parker Steiner, managing partner of the Chicago-based law firm representing Davis, who wrote in an email, "We plan on fully investigating the events that took place and are actively contacting United Airlines in this matter." By the way, those of you unacquainted with TD, he's one of only 8 running backs to have rushed for more than 2,000 yards in an NFL season. Davis played 7 years in the NFL, all with the Broncos from 95 to 2001, and helped the Broncos win 2 of them things, 2 Super Bowls in January of 98 and 99, and he was named MVP of that first title game, rushing for 157 yards and scoring 3 touchdowns in the Broncos' 31-24 win over the Green Bay Packers. The 3-time Pro Bowler was enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2017. That said, you shouldn't have to be a 3-time Pro Bowler enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in order to not be treated like this in front of your family based on the accusations of one person who had ample time in order to calm himself down. I applaud him and his family for their grace under severe amount of pressure in this situation, and I would also imagine a severe amount of shame, given the fact that he is somebody who people immediately recognize, and everybody doesn't understand the full extent of the story. They just see a black man being dragged off a plane. Oh wait, that's Terrell Davis. So congratulations to United Airlines. You are our racist of the week. And you know what? That's why I fly Delta. I haven't had the issue. I racist of the week. So United Airlines got one of them things, and now American Airlines got one of them things. Delta, don't do nothing, Delta. Don't do nothing, Delta, because I'm gonna have if Delta do something, I'm gonna have a problem. Now I'm gonna be on Spirit. I'm gonna be on Frontier. Who knows, man? I might have to pull a stagecoach. Hey, y'all keep it real, Delta. I don't want to hear nothing about y'all. As always, if you have somebody you would like to nominate, go ahead and leave it in the comments. You can email me at reese.waters@gmail.com, and be sure to subscribe to the page to make sure you get notified when the next video drops.
They don't want him to be able to shake her because he doesn't deserve it from her and all the she went through in this district.
I'm not aware of allegations where Dr. Gray doing anything to your daughter specifically.
No, it wasn't him specifically.
Racism is very upset that you're ignoring him right now, because he used to be, in his heyday, he used to be an offensive lineman. And so he's used to clearing out the outside. So that's why he went and got Rainey Briggs, because he was trying to clear the way for his daughter to come through, like a rush. His daughter was supposed to hit the hole. Welcome to a Racist of the Week update. My name is Reese Waters. Now, typically this is where we expose the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we can build a more perfect union and also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the page and leave me any possible suggestions for nominees in the comments. Now, the difference with the update, sometimes I like to refresh some of the stories that we've covered in this space. And I believe y'all probably remember Matt Eady. It's only been about a week or so. That was the white father who disrupted his daughter's high school graduation ceremony by rushing the stage and shoving the black superintendent.
Oh, excuse me. Where's Brendan?
Man, you better get up off
Where's
me,
Brendan?
man.
Where's
Get away from me, bro.
No, don't.
Hey, no, hey, you need to get, hey,
Walk away.
hey.
Walk away.
You gotta go. I will get off. Out right now. I don't care. Get off the stage right now.
Well, now he is outright denying that his actions were racially motivated. Now, Matt Eady didn't attend a court hearing recently in person, but his lawyer, Carl Gebhardt III, spoke on his behalf, making it clear the incident had nothing to do with race. Quote, my client understands the concerns about racism. What happened on May 31st had nothing to do with race. Briggs also revealed to the Daily Mail that Edie's lawyer had reached out to express remorse a day earlier. However, Briggs remained firm in his stance, stating that an apology ain't gonna cut it. Quote, an apology just doesn't make things go away. I don't think an apology and I'm sorry makes this go away because there's a lot of harm that was caused. Now, with respect to court interests, I understand that an open case is not something that you want to be discussing out in the open, but I have never needed an attorney to dismiss allegations of racism. I don't know that anybody that I've ever known has needed an attorney to deny that their actions were in fact racist. Hey man, my bad, it wasn't racist. I don't know that that would get you in any legal trouble, so I'm not exactly sure what the whole hiding behind the attorney is. And if there's one thing that we know about him, he's definitely not shy.
Oh.
So I'm not going to give him the, well, he's not a public person. He's very private, so he's going to use his lawyer to do the talking for him. Oh yeah, because that was a very private person that ran up on stage and announced himself to America. Now, Superintendent Rainey Briggs was in court seeking a restraining order against Edie, which the court granted. The incident occurred during the graduation ceremony at Baraboo High School, where Edie, 49, disrupted the event by rushing the stage to prevent Briggs from shaking his daughter's hand. Edie later explained that his actions were driven by anger over the school's treatment of his daughter, who had been expelled for undisclosed disciplinary reasons. Now, during the hearing, Briggs presented video showing Edie forcibly stopping him from shaking hands with his daughter as he was about to receive her diploma. Edie could be heard saying, quote, you're not going to touch my effing daughter. The judge issued a 4-year restraining order with penalties for violations, including a $10,000 fine and up to 90 days in jail if violated. Now, I will restate something that I mentioned in the initial video, which, by the way, the description will include the link to that. I have never known you to hold a school superintendent, the superintendent of the district, responsible for disciplinary reasons. That is a new one. That is a new one. I've heard the teacher. I have heard the principal. I have even heard the guidance counselor. I've heard other kids. I've heard other kids' parents. At no point have I ever heard the superintendent. And you know what? I wish I knew that as a kid. I wish I knew that. You know what, Mama? No, it wasn't. See, the superintendent. That's really who is the superintendent of the whole school district who is responsible for breaking that window. Yeah, he encourages my truancy. I also find it odd that it wasn't as if you took issue with the superintendent in a general way. You specifically removed him from stage and didn't want him touching your daughter. Ooh, that seems a scant racist, right? That just seems a scant racist. I don't want you to touch this man. That was the issue, was the touching, right? Was the touching, because we don't have a history here in America of issues of touching between interracial groups. That's never really been a thing. And I also love, if you wanted to stand on business, right? I want to stand on business. I have issues with how he conducted himself. How are you conducting yourself where you feel like you have the audacity to go up on stage and remove him? You didn't bring your daughter off stage. You didn't tell her, I don't want her. You removed him. She's going to have her moment, but I'm going to remove you. And oh yes, my behavior will not take away from her moment at all, right? Because the only person that can see me is Rainey Briggs. Now, Briggs, by the way, testified that the restraining order was necessary not only for his own safety, but also for the safety of his family, colleagues, and students he interacts with daily, saying, quote, the break in safety and civility is unprecedented in our work as educators. He expressed sympathy for those disrupted by the incident, including Edie's daughter and the 3,000 attendees at the ceremony, saying, my heart goes out to his students, to his daughter, and to everybody in attendance that night. Hopefully these things can be resolved in some positive way. So I see that Briggs is taking the high road and extending some grace to the audience, because they was cheering, and I wasn't exactly sure why, because I had brought up what had happened with the high school just a couple of years earlier. Meanwhile, Edie's lawyer described his actions as those of an immature and upset father, emphasizing that Edie did not harm or intimidate Briggs, saying, "The truth here is we have a father who was upset with how his daughter was treated by the district, and particularly the superintendent. My client's actions are immature, patronizing, and incredibly embarrassing, but immature acts are not harassment." Okay, so if running up on stage and removing the superintendent and saying, "You're not touching my effing daughter," so if that's not harassment, and it's not harm, and it's not intimidation, what was it?
That's assault. That is assault.
Huh? What was it? I mean, you have taken a lot off the table. What exactly was it, if not harm, harassment, or intimidation? Was it horseplay? Is that what it is? Was he playing? Was it a loving embrace? I'm trying to figure out what you have left on the table for me. And it's not helped that Edie himself initially tried to claim that Briggs touched him first.
Again, I didn't see what happened, so I don't know what the physicality of it was. Was it like a body block? I mean, what we were talking about?
Exactly. That's all it was.
Was there pushing? Was there shoving?
Not telling me you got to put his hands on me. I didn't come up to him like, knock him out or put him down.
I need to know, in what world you can run up on stage, remove somebody, actually say, "I don't want you touching my daughter," and feel like you would touch first. That is a level of delusion that we need to investigate as a society. That doesn't even obey the laws of physics for you to run up on stage and then everybody shifts backwards and to the left, but you were touched first. I think you should go back to school, sir. I think you deserve the seat that your daughter just vacated, either by graduation or suspension. You should go ahead and get that seat. And by the way, Rainey Briggs should remain the superintendent as well, in charge of your schooling. By the way, since the initial video, we actually have another angle just to cement that point. Now, Edie's lawyer was particularly sensitive to the claim the incident was racially motivated, noting that Edie would have reacted similarly regardless of who the superintendent was. Now, that might make some sense if you had beef with the superintendent specifically, except
I don't want him to be able to shake her down because he doesn't deserve it from her. And all the she went through in this district.
I'm not aware of allegations where Dr. Briggs doing anything to your daughter specifically.
No, it wasn't him specifically.
Okay.
in his own words, he does not have a specific beef with the superintendent. But that was who he decided to run up on stage and put his hands on and shove out of line and say, "You're not gonna touch my effing daughter." I'm running out of excuses. I mean, really, like, you want to tell me it's not racism, but he's saying that he put his hands on her first, which we know is a lie, so your credibility is shot. And then you see that you don't even have a specific beef with this particular dude. So racism is very upset that you're ignoring him right now. What do you want? Oh, well, see, no, because he used to be, in his heyday, he used to be an offensive lineman. And so he's used to clearing out the outside. So that's why he went and got Rainey Briggs, because he was trying to clear the way for his daughter to come through, like a rush. His daughter was supposed to hit the hole, after he blocked and cleared the way. I got nothing. I got nothing for you. Now, Briggs himself acknowledged that while the optics were poor, he never directly accused Edie of racism. We're just gonna let the video speak for itself, saying, quote, "What I did say is that the optics don't look good." And I wanna be very clear that the optics don't look good, given it wasn't specifically Dr. Briggs that did something, but Dr. Briggs was the one that was attacked. Exactly. Now, following the confrontation, Edie was escorted out of the building and arrested for disorderly conduct. He blamed school officials for his daughter's expulsion, though Briggs clarified he had no role in disciplinary actions and didn't even recognize Edie during the incident, saying, quote, "I wouldn't have been able to pick this guy out of any crowd. It wasn't until after that I was able to pull his name up in the system to see who this was." Shocking, his name was up in the system. I wonder, what's Edie's side of the story?
She was expelled for doing the same thing that was done to her, and nothing happened to the previous people. And we then had the meeting in here with him, the school board.
Like an expulsion meeting?
Yeah. And he rolled his eyes when I brought up the fact that the same thing happened to her. And you.
So that's why you made this scene. That is why you made this scene, because you were mad that she was disciplined for something you don't deny even that she did, but just claiming that other people did it too. Now, I felt bad for her before for having to grow up in this house, but knowing that this is an acceptable explanation for you that other people were doing it too, that is the kind of thing that kids tell to parents, not the kind of thing that parents tell to police. Now, at a school board meeting, members condemned Edie's actions and defended the superintendent. Although Briggs didn't attend, he stated he has no plans to step down from his leadership role. Edie denied pre-planning the episode and told police he even walked out when Briggs gave his speech. However, he was seen pacing by the bleachers before rushing in front of the stage to clap for his daughter, then leaping over the steps to reach Briggs. Kind of sounds planned to me. Yeah, kind of sound planned to me. Sound like you getting your energy up like Sonic the Hedgehog. This is the rare moment where you are better off just getting in your car and leaving. Typically, I don't tell people to run away from their problems. You should have ran away from this problem. I don't think that I've ever considered a scenario ever before in my life where it would have been better for a parent to leave their child's graduation. But you are the first, sir. You are the first. She would have been better off, everybody would have been better off if you would have abandoned the graduation or just made up an excuse why you couldn't be there in the first place. I gotta go down to the foundry. Whatever it is, would have been better off than what you did. Now, the confrontation occurred amid broader tensions within the school district. Superintendent Briggs and the school board have faced criticism from a group of outraged residents. They're currently trying to recall school board president Kevin Vodak, who was present at the graduation. Vodak has been accused of favoritism and failing to provide adequate pay and support for teachers. Critics have also pointed to a high turnover of staff during Briggs' tenure. But guess who nobody put their hands on? Huh? Guess who didn't get shoved out of line or body blocked? School board president Kevin Vodak. Yes, that is correct. Briggs also faced scrutiny over his salary and the contracts awarded to his consulting firms. That doesn't shock me at all. What's his brother making all this money? You know what? He driving a brand new car. I mean, not new, but it was since 2020. Briggs, while acknowledging the disruption caused by the incident, expressed hope for a positive resolution. But there won't be one to this video. Congratulations, Matt Edie. After reviewing the footage, you are still a Racist of the Week nominee. However, the good news is that you were beaten out in the voting by Byron Donalds and by Donald Trump. And also, according to unemployed TikToker Lily Gaddis, you have a bright future in conservative media. Links to all those videos are in the description. As always, if you have somebody you'd like to nominate, leave it in the comments. You can email me at reese.waters@gmail.com, and be sure to subscribe to the page to make sure you get notified when the next video drops.
And I said it to a large African-American group of people 4 years ago What the hell do you have to lose? You're the worst in income. You're the worst on crime. Your cities and your areas are being decimated. You can't get a home. You can't get mortgage. You can't get, they're last on it. What the hell do you have to lose?
Saying it after you were president for 4 years is insane because we already saw what we have to lose. Like, you gave us 4 years of evidence. I'm losing stuff I didn't even know was on the table to be lost. Hi, my name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, as we get closer to not only the 2024 election, but also the first potential debate, and I say potential, we'll see if he shows up, between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, Trump's outreach to black voters has gotten sad. I mean, it has really gotten sad. Like, each time they reach out, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Now, a lot of you guys sent me this video, so I knew I had to respond to it. These were recent comments he made this weekend right here in Washington, D.C. Before he could reach out his orange Cheeto-covered hand to black voters, he had to at least make sure everybody knew that he had the cops back.
We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they have ever been before. Right now, they're killing fields, our cities.
Are they really? Because every indication that I've gotten, not only from local jurisdictions, but also from the Department of Justice, says that crime is down, actually historically so, in 2023 as well as in 2024. This must be what it's like to be MAGA. Like, he just will say anything. I've wondered how you get into the mindset of a MAGA. Like, okay, now I get it.
We're going to give back our law enforcement. We're going to give them back the respect that they deserve. They are being treated so badly.
Well, let's see. You just said that our cities were killing fields, so you're obviously not giving them the blame for that. But naturally, if crime were down, like if your narrative is that crime was down, they would definitely get all the credit for that. So they get all the credit for that, but clearly none of the blame for this. Sounds like they're being treated pretty well.
If they do something that's harsh to stop a crime, they end up losing their pension, they end up losing their job, they end up losing their family and their home.
Who? Huh? Who's this? I need to know who you're talking about. I need Derek Chauvin? Like, who are these officers that are losing all of these things? Just for the sake of discussion, former Chicago Police Commander John Burge, after decades of routine and systemic torture, was given his pension. He was given his pension. The city of Chicago paid millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, in order to rectify what he did, but he kept his pension. So who are you talking about?
I mean, we have some police forces where they make you go out and get a lawyer to defend yourself. They won't defend you. You have to hire your own lawyer.
No, I can't. I absolutely cannot. The police union has that much power for a reason. So no, I cannot believe that. And I'm sure, given the reluctant DAs in prosecuting, would be able to recommend a good one.
And I'm giving immunity to police all over the country for that.
Wait, you're going to give immunity to police who we have not had the police reform in order to deal with qualified immunity, which they still hold. So you're going to give immunity to police that have immunity. So we're going to give them like a double immunity. You know what I mean? It's like taking a whole bottle of echinacea. You know, that's what that's like. That's like taking a whole bunch of emergencies when you are healthy, like double immunity. That's what we doing.
We will take over the horribly run capital of our nation in Washington, D.C. It is so badly run.
I wonder why he thinks the Capitol is so horribly run. I wonder, what could it be What could it be why he thinks the Capitol is so horribly run?
And we will clean it, renovate it, and rebuild our capital city so that it is no longer a nightmare of murder and crime.
I can tell you, I want no parts of a Trump renovation. I want no parts of Trump, because he don't pay his contractors. He don't pay, no, because they're going to try and clean up the city, and they're going to do the job halfway, and they're just going to leave because they didn't get paid. And then we just got a bunch of debris right in the middle of the city. And then they're going to have to change the name like they do with most of his properties. Oh, look at that. Is that murder and crime? Oh, no, that's a bush. Oh, look at that. Is that murder, crime? No. Oh, no, that's a half smoke.
But we're not going to have this capital of ours that we love and cherish be a victim.
Well, I can tell you in all honesty, us here in Washington, D.C. are absolutely victims and have been victims for decades of the overreach of the federal government, especially those on the right side of the aisle who use it as a proxy war to stick it to Democrats and black and brown people. They have been doing that forever, to the point where things that we vote for, that we want, we can't get unless they approve it. Oh, we've been victims for a long time of y'all.
In itself, of all of the murder and crime that's taking place, I lost a man who was a great person. Everyone loved him. It was a carjacking. He was waiting for his wife, and somebody came out. Didn't even give him a warning, just said, just took a gun, shot him through the head 5 months ago. Shot him through the head. The wife is walking out. He was picking up the wife from work. Shot him through the head, dumped him into the street, took the car. They caught him. Wow,
that's a terrible story. I look forward to hearing the details. I'm assuming this is a specific, somebody close to you, as you said, somebody. This isn't like a State of the Union speech where you just mention things off the cuff that have happened at some point in life. I'm assuming somebody close to you that you know.
And you know he'll be protected by all sorts of things. Those people get protected. We don't get protected, but they get protected.
Those people get protected. Who? Who exactly is it that's getting protected? I'm trying to figure who gets protected. Is poor people? Because we know the criminal justice system is always so good to poor people. Is this black people? Black and brown? Is you talking about minorities? Is that because we get protected by the criminal justice system? Is that what you're trying to sell to me right now? Huh? I'm trying to figure out who's the they who gets protected. Because you are the one that's walking around with all these indictments. You are the one that's walking around with all these credible allegations from women. That is you. They couldn't be free right now to campaign with your resume of crime. So I'm trying to figure out who the they is who get protected.
On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory.
Wait a minute. Did you just jump to critical race theory? So you just jumped to critical race theory. First of all, you didn't even close the loop on that story, right? That story of that person who was, you just lost somebody, right? You just lost somebody. You launched into that story. You said shot in the head about 18 times. You just launched into that story, didn't close the loop on that, said they would be protected, and then jumped to critical race theory. I'm trying to follow the through line because you said that they get protected, and then you jump to critical race theory. So that makes me think that you're saying that black people get protected. Is that what you think? You think black people get protected by the criminal justice system? Oh, this black outreach is going well.
On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children.
Yes, he definitely just changed the subject. He 1,000% just changed the subject and told us exactly who the they was. He didn't want to say it because he knew the next thing is he was going to do a BS outreach to black people. So yeah, I can't say it, but I'm going to just say I'm going to attack critical race theory right after. Yeah, that's a good plan.
And I will shut down the Federal Department of Education, and we will move everything back to the states. where it belongs and where they can individualize education and do it with the love for their children.
Now let's break down what he means here. He wants to kick it back to the states, and kick it back to the states is a way for you to deconstruct it without having your hands on it, because you understand that most of the states are run by red governments. You see what they've done to education in Florida. You see what they've done to education in Alabama. You see what they've done to education in Mississippi. That's what we're talking about, with the love and care for the students, the white students. Yeah, because we don't want them to feel bad about what we did. So we just won't tell them.
You know the expression? And I said it to a large African-American group of people 4 years ago. What the hell do you have to lose?
Wait a minute. You said that 4 years ago, but you also said it in 2016, before you were president. It would have made sense then. Saying it after you were president for 4 years is insane, because we already saw what we have to lose. Like, you gave us 4 years of evidence of what we have to lose, because we lost it all during the course of that 4 years. Like, what are you talking about? How do you ask us what do we have to lose after you were already president and we've seen everything that we have to lose? What's wrong with you?
What the hell do you have to lose?
Well, there is the obvious, but beyond that, I'm losing stuff I didn't even know was on the table to be lost. Like, I didn't know that Brown versus Board of Education was on the table. I didn't know that Roe v. Wade was on the table. I'm losing stuff I didn't even know could be lost. Like having the teacher call me and say, "I'm sorry, we've had a polio outbreak at school." Like, didn't we eradicate that? Matter of fact, they brought that back too.
You're the worst in income. You're the worst on crime. Your cities and your areas are being decimated. You can't get a home. You can't get mortgage. You can't get. They're last on. I said, and the Democrats have for 100 years run these cities. 100 years. I said to them, what the hell do you have to lose?
Okay, so we're worse in income when it comes to jobs. Now they seek to try and rectify that with some of the diversity, equity, and inclusion programs that your people love to attack so much. And then you get to crime, and that comes with opportunity that doesn't get extended to people in our situation, as we know. And that's something they also are trying to close down with their attacks on DEI. And then you come to housing, and the audacity of a man who had to be sued for housing discrimination to talk about we can't get housing. I know what it feels like to be MAGA. Like, I really feel very MAGA-ish right now.
Now, I'm going over this list. Every single thing was bad. I said, what do you have to lose?
Every damn thing. Every damn thing. Have you seen Project 2025? You may not have, actually, Trump. You actually may not have. I know they put a battery in your back and send you in various directions. I have you speaking in front of Christians, and you can't even name a book of the Bible. Like, I know that they don't tell you everything, but I implore you to check out Project 2025. There's a whole lot on the table, and there's a whole lot left to be lost. Who knows where this Supreme Court going?
If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as crooked Joe Biden and the Biden administration have done. He's crooked. He's a total thief.
This man, political Cat Williams over here. He just say anything. Well, thankfully, I can have a little bit of gratitude that his opinion of black people is so low that he thinks that this little 2 minutes of outreach where he says we're the worst at everything disinvolves his hands in any of it, like he wasn't president, still going with what do you have to lose, like he didn't run the country for 4 years, sandwiched in between attacks on CRT and giving cops complete immunity. He thinks that little morsel of love and acknowledgement, and that's how he sees it, is enough to land with some of us. That is how low his opinion is of black people. And I have a lot of gratitude, because if he would have tried harder, he might have made some inroads. If he would have tried at all, he might have made some inroads. But this here's where we are with the Donald Trump black experience. Speaking at the black church filled with white people and going immediately to white boy summer. If that day was a speech, it was right here.
Do I believe in myself? 100% I do. And so, you know, we'll see what President Trump decides. I'm going to support whatever he does.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
I just love you.
Don Jr. asked what was it about J.D. Vance. The first thing he said was he liked the way J.D. Vance was on TV.
Hi, my name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I am not troubled. Today is a momentous occasion. I get to drag Tim Scott and Byron Donalds to the white meat for months of shuffling for no job. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, as you guys, I'm sure, are well aware, Ohio's J.D. Vance has been announced as Donald Trump's running mate for the 2024 election. And I would like to congratulate the good people of Ohio. Hopefully you can finally get J.D. Vance out the paint. The better way would have been to, you know, vote for somebody else. But, you know, you do what you can. You take the wins wherever you can take the wins. Tim Scott, what you doing here?
I don't know what went into that process. I met the criteria to be selected, but I wasn't.
I know, man. I know. I mean, this is bad. I mean, he picked J.D. Vance despite what he said about him.
This is an evolution, and I know you've been asked about this before, about past comments that you've made about Donald Trump. You've said, I'm a never Trump guy, never liked him, terrible candidate, idiot if you voted for him, might be America's Hitler, might be a cynical a-hole, cultural heroine, noxious and reprehensible.
And that's not to mention his whole idea of family.
And this is one of the great tricks that I think the sexual revolution pulled on the American populace, which is this idea that, like, well, okay, these marriages were fundamentally, you know, they were maybe even violent, but certainly they were unhappy. And so getting rid of them and making it easier for people to shift spouses like they change their underwear, that's going to make people happier in the long term. And maybe it worked out for the moms and dads, though I'm skeptical, but it really didn't work out for the kids.
You've been buck dancing for months, and he just up and picks J.D. Vance despite all of that. I mean, this is bad. Even Nikki Haley and them got jokes. Which honestly makes a little bit of sense given how she helped you and you treated her.
Though there's a lot of tension, obviously, between President Trump and Governor Haley. That makes sense as they're headed to the showdown in South Carolina. But he says things like she may not be eligible to run, suggesting she wasn't born in the U.S., which she was. He calls her bird brain. He made comments about her husband being on military deployment as if he was trying to get away from her. Wall Street Journal says this: he seems to have forgotten, if he ever cared, that he will need some of her admirers to vote for him in November, talking about centrist Republicans, independents, even Democrats who voted for her. Is President Trump writing them off? Where does he think her supporters will go if he continues to attack her like that?
Well, there's no doubt that the race has gotten kind of challenging without any question. Listen, the rhetoric coming out of the Haley camp, talking about people's age. We see the Haley camp in the family referring to me as Judas Iscariot. We're hearing a lot of chatter out of the Haley camp, not only just matching the rhetoric from the Trump side, but actually going further. Why? Because they're desperate.
Did you ever think that she actually appointed you, Tim? And think of it, appointed, and you're the senator of his state, and she endorsed me. You must really hate her. No, it's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
I just love you.
No, that's why he's a great politician.
You told another man you loved him and had your fiance out here all by herself. Hell, you got a fiance. That was part of your role, and you fully committed to it.
Senator Tim Scott, who on August the 3rd will become a father himself, I will tell you in advance, it is the best yet most expensive form of entertainment you can possibly have. So happy early Father's Day to you. Happy Father's Day to your dad.
Thank you,
and
sir.
Thank you for joining us on a Sunday night.
Wow. Wow. I mean, and based on what JD said, y'all got to stay together now. Yeah, it's not even your choice. There's a baby involved. Tim, I mean, hopefully you're not too angry because we've seen what it looks like when you get angry.
I can't believe the hoax, this sham, this absolute injustice justice system. D.A. Bragg and the judge should be ashamed of themselves. This isn't just ridiculous. This actually erodes the confidence that Americans have in the justice system. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. But good news is coming. D.A. Bragg, hear me clearly. You cannot silence the American people. You cannot stop us from voting for change. Joe Biden's injustice, Joe Biden's two-tier injustice system, weaponizing the justice system of the United States of America against a political opponent, un-American. Joe Biden, you're fired. We the people stand with Donald Trump.
Wait, what's that? Can you come home? You know what? Let me ask.
Man, hell no!
It looks like a no for me, dog. I mean, Tim, you was out here denying basic racism.
You would be the first black Republican VP on the ticket. How do you feel?
Well, I think it's exciting, no matter the outcome. It's the evolution of the Southern heart that we see on display. And we Southerners get so little credit for the progress we've made. The whole notion of judging a person on the content of their character, not the color of their skin, has happened. It's not going to happen. It's not around the corner. It's in the rearview mirror. We are living Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream.
You didn't even acknowledge the whole black jobs comment.
The president used a phrase I hadn't heard before. Maybe he's used it, maybe you've heard this, but he used a phrase saying that immigrants are coming into this country, undocumented immigrants, and they're taking black jobs and Hispanic jobs. What did he mean by that phrase, black jobs and Hispanic? What exactly does he mean? And does he mean low-wage jobs? And why not just say low-wage jobs? Why does he have to insert race and or ethnicity into it?
I got to tell you, the thing I thought was incredibly powerful on the issue of immigration was when President Trump said that we see our veterans homeless on the streets.
I'm gonna be real though, Tim. You can't be that mad. I mean, he did tell you you were better for him than you were for yourself.
I have to say, this is in a very positive way, Tim Scott. He has been much better for me than he was for himself. I watched his campaign.
He literally told you what it was. What's that smell? Hey, Byron Donalds, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
Let's agree on something. I am, obviously one of the better communicators in the Republican Party. I know how to put words together. I do it very, very often. So I'm not going to say something that I do not agree with.
Well, apparently that's not true.
One at a time, murders in Milwaukee are down 39% since last year. And the Trump campaign's own election investigator in 2020 said that Wisconsin's results were legit. So if Mr. Trump feels so strongly that Milwaukee is a horrible city, why is he having his convention there?
Well, two things. First of all, when you bring these comments up, please bring them in context. I'm glad that you mentioned what the campaign said afterwards, but I noticed that your network and a lot of the press are not doing that. With respect to Milwaukee, he was talking about allegations of voter fraud and also the crime rate.
He didn't mean it was a horrible city, just the crime, the ways in which people say it's a horrible city. I need to know, Byron, because I don't think anybody else in the history of colors knows what it feels like to dredge up Jim Crow just to curry favor and still not get the job. I don't think any of us has ever gone to those lengths. I need to know how that feels.
During Jim Crow, the black family was together.
That's right.
During Jim Crow, more black people were not just conservative, because black people always have been conservative-minded, but more black people voted conservatively. And then H.E.W., Lyndon Johnson, and then you go down that road, and now we are where we are.
Trump had you singled out at a Blacks for Trump event like the last Cocoa Puff. That man had you stuffed into a barbershop chair, listening to him talk about how much we loved his mugshot.
But since this has happened, like the mugshot is the best. It just beat Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra by a lot, by the way. Beat him by a lot. But that's the #1 mugshot of all time. It's really an amazing thing. Since it happened, the support among the black community and the Hispanic community has skyrocketed.
Then he almost got you monkey stomped at that Atlanta cigar shop thanks to Wesley Hunt and his jigger boots.
Because only in America do you have 3 black children matriculate through the premier leadership institution of the entire world and graduate from there and live in a barracks named after a Confederate general. Only in America. And if it were named anything differently, I wouldn't have that perspective. Do you think I support the Confederacy? Don't kid yourself. Of course I don't. Excuse me?
Wow.
Of course I don't. See, this is what happened to you last time. This is what happened to you last time. I'm trying to have a nuanced conversation.
You don't forget about where you're from. Don't paint the picture. Don't tell us that we can't educate our kids on the opportunity. We're talking about vouchers. You're talking about things that's still going to cost more money.
The point I'm making is that I actually do understand.
You don't understand.
Totally
It's obvious.
the value of that.
Obvious.
And what I want to say is, at no point in time will I ever be a victim.
Everybody
I'm sitting
has a
here right
story,
now.
is my point.
And I don't care what the name
What
of
are
the
you
statue
going to
was.
do?
And I don't care what the name of the
Everybody
building
has
is.
an opinion. What are you going to do?
I don't care what the name of the building is because
I'm a black dad. This is a
I am
conversation
not.
for black men. And all I hear is people that are non-black trying to hush me.
Now, I'll be honest with you, Tim, Byron, y'all should have known. I mean, really, y'all should have known. I don't know what part of Donald Trump's history made you think he was going to pick a black VP. Somebody that actually would be one step away from the presidency. Y'all really thought that he was going to pick one of us for that no matter what you did? This man didn't even believe that America was ready to receive a black winner of The Apprentice. And you thought he was going to select a black winner of the VP? Come on now. He didn't birtherism for nothing. What y'all been paying attention to? Now, both of y'all spiritually homeless and got nowhere to go home to. The only place y'all can go back to is back to him.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
But at least there's company. I mean, you can hang out with the rest of the rejected black friends.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Trump. Happy birthday.
I support Trump against this corrupt, two-tier justice system.
And of course, at least y'all have each other.
I know, man. It hurt me too. Come here, man.
Trump brought Project 2025 to the wedding, thinking it was going to be a side piece and nobody was going to know. And now all the photos just hit the timeline and he got an answer for it. Well, I will tell you this, Trump, you should be used to getting yourself out of scrapes like that. Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Now, by now, I assume most people watching have heard of Project 2025.
Project 2025 is a far-right manifesto. It is a 1,000-page bucket list of extremist policies that would uproot every government agency and disrupt the lives of every person who calls this country home. The Department of Education would be eliminated, cutting students off from civil rights protections and ending essential Title I funding for K through 12 schools. The Department of Justice would go on a murdering spree. It would rush to use the death penalty and expand its use to even more people while circumventing due process protections. Project 25 not only calls for national book bans in schools, but also creates a list of banned words for the federal government that would be deleted from, quote, every federal rule, agency regulation, contract, grant, and piece of legislation that exists. End quote. Here are just a few of the words on the list: diversity, gender, reproductive health, and of course, conservatives want to ban the word abortion. On that note, abortion care would be inaccessible and illegal no matter where you live. Now, we could have an entire hearing on how these policies would quite literally ruin and end lives, and I didn't even touch upon proposals for housing, climate change, worker protections, and more. If enacted, Project 2025 would destroy the federal government as we know it.
Now, the link to that video is in the description, and if you haven't heard of Project 2025, it is basically the transition plan for a second Trump presidency. See, they were not prepared for Trump to win in 2016, although, to be fair, nobody was prepared for Trump to win in 2016. Hillary wasn't prepared. We, the people, were not prepared. I don't even think the animals were prepared for Trump to win in 2016, which actually makes sense because nobody thought they would roll back environmental protections the way that they did. Now, thanks to many on the left wing for sounding the alarm, and of course, DC's own Taraji P. Henson, more people than ever are trying to find out what the GOP has in store.
It seems like a lot of people are starting to pick up on the project and its proposals, thanks to warnings like this one from host Taraji P. Henson at this week's BET Awards.
See, this is why we can't allow plus ones to the cookout. This is exactly why we can't allow plus ones to the cookout. Chris, you cool, but what did you call her? Taraji Beat Henson? Like, did you give her a breakdancer name?
This one from host Taraji P. Henson.
You ain't seen Empire? You ain't seen when Terrence Howard threw Jussie in the trash can? You ain't seen Hustle and Flow, Talk to Me, Hidden Figures? You ain't seen Baby Boy? Jody? All right, Chris, I'll let you finish.
This one from host Taraji P. Henson at this week's BET Awards.
Pay attention. It's not a secret. Look it up. They are attacking our most vulnerable citizens. The Project 2025 plan is not a game. Look it up.
According to some reports, the project actually began trending on Google immediately after those comments. But even with the new influx of attention, I still think the details of Project 2025 are undercovered relative to how absolutely unhinged they are, even by the standards of today's Republican Party. And I think this portion of Project 2025, the authoritarian plots to purge the civil service, replace it all with MAGA loyalists, like deep down into the government, is getting most of the attention, and for good reason. But there's so much more to Project 2025, including, again, a whole bunch of fringe, hard-right culture war stuff. So, for instance, unsurprisingly, the document calls for a full-out, whole-of-government approach to the assault on reproductive rights on women. For conservatives to gratefully celebrate the greatest pro-family win in a generation, overturning Roe v. Wade. It includes an effective abortion ban by calling for the FDA, right? They're going to appoint people to the FDA who suddenly announce, oh, you can't have a medication abortion. Reverse its approval of chemical abortion drugs like mifepristone, which is used in the majority of all abortions in this country. And again, in red and blue states where abortion is legal or not. And to be clear, there's no absolutely justification for this, right? Mifepristone has been used safely for decades. This is not a scientific determination. They're going to put some apparatchik into charge of FDA to do this. Project 2025 wants to take it away, citing in part the hundreds of thousands to millions of babies whose lives have been unjustly taken through chemical abortion. The document goes further than FDA approval, calls on the Department of Justice to criminalize sending the pill through the mail under the Comstock Act, an archaic anti-obscenity law from the 19th century, which has been rendered largely unenforceable in subsequent decades. In addition to the abortion pill, Project 2025 also wants to strip the mandate for free emergency contraception from Obamacare. And look, Republicans are not going to stop until they have all but eliminated access to reproductive health care in this country, full stop.
Now here's the part where I have to ask myself, why is it that they are so obsessed with reproductive freedoms? Why are they so obsessed with abortion and contraception? Now, a cynical man would think this wouldn't have anything to do with that great replacement theory now, would it? Would this have anything to do with repopulating the country to turn the tide of the culture war against what you see as rampant black and brown expansion? Would this happen to have anything to, no, that would be cynical of me. But then again, if you are so encouraging of new life, then naturally you would be at the forefront of making sure that our social services are funded and expanded in order to make sure that all of these new babies that we're popping out have a fair chance to grow and thrive and achieve the American dream. Because as long as they're going to stay impoverished and prevented from having a fair chance at a decent education, or at least anything that approaches what you're giving the 1%, you know, the people that are making these kinds of decisions, then really all you're doing is creating an expanded underclass to fill up your jails and the front lines of your wars. But of course, you could go ahead and prove me wrong by deciding to completely contradict all of your prior stances on literally any of the services that might help improve the life of these new babies.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
What is the right wing's obsession with other people's bedrooms? I mean, if it's not LGBTQ, now it's abortion. Here is contraception. Really, can't y'all mind? Y'all need some more action. Clearly it's not enough going on in these right-wing bedrooms. I mean, really? Y'all need a swinger summer camp or something?
Document also calls for all federal laws, grants, regulations, and contracts to delete every instance of the terms sexual orientation and gender identity, diversity, equity, inclusion, gender equality, gender equity, gender awareness, gender sensitive, abortion, reproductive health, and reproductive rights, saying they're used to deprive Americans of their First Amendment rights. Reproductive health. It demands the Department of Health and Human Services immediately put an end to the department's foray into woke transgender activism. And get this, I don't think people know this, but people should. Pornography should be outlawed, and the people who produce and distribute it should be imprisoned.
I have no problem with that. That is totally fine by me. Hold on one second. I got to check on one thing. Okay, we good. All right, now naturally, as people have began to open their eyes to the possibility of Pornhub going away, this has become quite the political liability. Oh, okay. Well, if you say so, Trump. Wait, what's that? Oh, no. Hey, Trump, we got a problem. Apparently, Trump's name appears in Project 2025 manifesto 312 times. And then there's the fact that his own press secretary is actually in recruitment ads for Project 2025. There is the fact that his super PAC is running ads promoting Project 2025, calling it Trump's Project 2025. And last but not least, one of his top aides, John McEntee, being the guy behind Project 2025. Even the head of the Heritage Foundation, Kevin Roberts, gave you the credit, Trump.
Our Project 2025 has developed a comprehensive policy agenda, but even more importantly, recruiting people, 20,000 people to go into the next administration, hopefully, to help take back this country for you and for your audiences. We want no credit. We want the American people, if President Trump is elected again, President Trump and his administration, to take credit for that. But it will also be a great sign, if all of this is successful, that in fact, as we know in our prayer time, but maybe not every time when we're watching the news, that the Lord is still smiling upon America.
Now, what we have here is a simple confusion of whether or not Project 2025 was supposed to be a political wife or a political side piece. Is this supposed to be something that you parade around as something that you hang your hat on and what you're willing to offer the public? Or is this something that you're just trying to slide in at 2 a.m. when you hope nobody's looking? See, Trump is acting like it's a political side piece. He's trying to act like it's something he's trying to slide in. But everybody else is acting like this is the landmark legislation. We want everybody to know about this. This is like Trump just brought the political side piece to the wedding. Yeah, Trump brought Project 2025 to the wedding, thinking it was going to be a side piece and nobody was going to know, and now all the photos just hit the timeline, and he got an answer for it. Well, I will tell you this, Trump, you should be used to getting yourself out of scrapes like that. Now this is bad. This is very, very bad. Now, this will only be worse if you yourself had acknowledged the project.
Your organization is named the Heritage Foundation, because you understand that our glorious heritage is the foundation of everything we hope to achieve.
I'm so happy to be here at the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, because I have always said nationally that I only associate with people who want to advance the colorment of people. I'm so grateful to be here at the Black Caucus, because I love black. Is that really the man that one of our major political parties is putting up for the presidency? I mean, Trump. The only thing you can do now is to just lean into it. Just lean into 2025 and be as divisive, abrasive, acrimonious, arrogant, and unlikable as possible.
Well, Professor, my great friend, thanks for filling in and doing a great job. Three things. Number one, in spite of all this nonsense from the left, we are going to win. We're in the process of taking this country back. No one in the audience should be despairing. No one should be discouraged. We ought to be really encouraged.
Now I want you to note something here. He said we're taking our country back, despite the fact that a great number of the items listed in that 900-page manifesto is against the will of the people. Much of what the Supreme Court has done recently is against the will of the people. So when he says we're taking our country back, what he means is we're taking our country back.
No one in the audience should be despairing. No one should be discouraged. We ought to be really encouraged by what happened yesterday. And in spite of all of the injustice, which, of course, friends and audience of this show, of our friend Steve know, we are going to prevail. Number two, to the point of the clips and of course, your preview of the fact that I am an early American historian and love the Constitution, that Supreme Court ruling yesterday on immunity is vital. And it's vital for a lot of reasons, but I would go to Federalist number 70 if people in the audience are looking for something to read over Independence Day weekend, in addition to rereading the Declaration of Independence. Read Hamilton's number 70, because there, along with some other essays, he talks about the importance of a vigorous executive. You know, former congressman, the importance of Congress doing its job, but we also know the importance of the executive being able to do his job. And can you imagine, Dave Bratt, any president, put politics off to the side, any president having to second guess, triple guess every decision they're making in their official capacity? You couldn't have the republic that you just described.
Wait, so what you're telling me is you don't want the president of the world's most powerful nation, full of hundreds of millions of people, thinking twice, or maybe even, dare I say, 3 times about the decisions that might affect hundreds of millions of people. You just want them You just want them playing it like they just jumped on a video game? That's how we got here? Is they just act however willing? So they haven't been ensuring that their decision making is sound up to this point, and you want to make sure that they never have to do so. I got it. So basically, we want the president to have the decision making of the cast of Love and Hip Hop.
Let me speak about the radical left. You and I have both been parts of faculties and faculty senates and understand that the left has taken over our institutions. The reason that they are apoplectic right now, the reason that so many anchors on MSNBC, for example, are losing their minds daily is because our side is winning. And so I come full circle in this response and just want to encourage you with some substance that we are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
Quote, we are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be. When somebody tells you who they are and what their intentions are, believe them. We have seen January 6th. We have seen how surrogate after surrogate of Trump has refused to acknowledge or respect the results of the election should they lose. I just did a whole video on Mark Robinson saying some people need killing. When people declare their intentions, believe them. Though when it comes to Trump, that's probably the only thing I believe.
The owner of Rocky's Barbershop in Atlanta says he feels he was misled by a campaign event for former President Trump.
I thought it was like something real private.
It was anything but. Rocky, along with black business owners from across metro Atlanta, crammed into his shop, along with Trump surrogates like Ben Carson.
When Byron Donalds and Ben Carson showed up, you didn't know what was up? You thought that Ben Carson came to get faded in the back? Hi, my name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Okay, now first we got video of this Trump campaign event at an Atlanta barbershop.
But since this has happened, like the mugshot is the best. It just beat Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra by a lot, by the way. Beat him by a lot. But that's the #1 mugshot of all time. It's really an amazing thing. Since it happened, the support among the black community and the Hispanic community has skyrocketed. It's been amazing, really been amazing. It's been actually very nice to see.
Mr. President,
you know, it's in one way you say, gee, isn't that too bad? But the truth is, it's really a lovely thing when I see that. We have great support now in the black community and in the Hispanic community. Yes.
And I was already going to talk about this because you had to know his advisor said going in, hey, whatever you do, Donnie, do not mention the mugshot. No. Just let's get one appearance in front of black people where you don't talk about them as criminals. Like just one. Just let us get footage of you one time talking to black people where you don't characterize them as criminals. Can we get one? Can we get one? We couldn't get one. We couldn't get one. So you know I was going to talk about that. Now, I had planned to getting around to addressing that sham, but before I even could, I saw this.
The owner of Rocky's Barbershop in Atlanta says he feels he was misled by a campaign event for former President Trump the day before the debate. Rocky Jones tells our Karis Belger he thought his Buckhead shop was just hosting a forum for black businesses, but he says he never expected to fade into the realm of politics.
To me, cutting hair is like an art.
And smooth waves are not the only thing Rocky Jones wants his shop to be known for.
We try to specialize in just giving good service to the community. As you can see, I've been here since 17 years, and it's been good.
Which is why he jumped at the chance to help other black business owners get ahead.
Started with a text, then it went to a call, because I was actually out the country. And just me agreeing to do a black small business, round table. I thought it was like something real private.
It was anything but. Rocky, along with black business owners from across metro Atlanta, crammed into his shop, along with Trump surrogates like Ben Carson.
Okay, I got to stop us right here. When Byron Donalds and Ben Carson showed up, you didn't know what was up? Huh? Because I'm just saying, you thought that Ben Carson came to get faded in the back? Help me. How did you not know? I have not heard anything that didn't originate from Donald Trump's lower bowels out of Byron Donalds' mouth in 12 months. So what do you think he possibly came to say? How did you not know what was up?
But it wasn't all shop talk.
Thinking about black business in Atlanta, small black businesses in Atlanta. And I'm like, okay, so when are we going to start talking about this?
He says a call from former President Trump during the event cut deep.
Why is the ex-president calling somebody in my barbershop? This has nothing to do with small black businesses.
Now, I'll be honest. The owner, Rocky, does have a point here because I went back and watched when Trump called, and he did not look pleased.
Oh, actually, hold on.
He worked in the administration.
Hello.
Hey,
Mr.
President Trump.
Mr. President, how you doing? Well, I'm going to put you on speaker, but actually a great question just came up. We're talking about regulations and some of the things that can be done to alleviate the regulation burdens on a lot of businesses. But I'm going to put you on speakerphone for everybody to hear. Hold on a second. All right, everybody, you're on with the president.
Hello, Mr.
Hey,
President.
Mr. President.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be with you. I hope I'm being well represented. I have a feeling I am. I know them very well. So I hope so.
No, you are, sir.
He looked like when you was playing as a kid and your grandma called and you knew your mama was going to put you on the phone.
And he was left with a lot more than razor burn.
We had some calls. Thursday, we definitely got some calls, some backlash, some angry people that don't know me, and I have to deal with that. I have no involvement in politics. We don't even talk politics in my barbershop. It's all sports. Commend everybody to vote, but that's your business. I don't tell you what to do.
The number of customers, he says, has trimmed down, but he hopes the shock will fade and he can keep helping his community.
No politics in the barbershop. That's right. It's sports only. Huh? I see the WNBA. Yeah. Oh no, we can't. No, we can't talk about WNBA because of the whole proxy war with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and all the black players and everything. So no WNBA talk. The Olympics, right? You saw the Olympics? No, no Olympic talk because the Olympics has for years been a place against which the backdrop of politics was projected. So no politics. No politics. The Celtics, no, I'm not a Celtics fan. I don't really rock with the Celtics because of their fans. You know what? That's politics. No NBA. No NBA. We're not talking about the Celtics fans and their history. No, we can't do that. Michigan and Ohio State. Now, there you go. No, actually, no, that is literally blue versus red. NFL, though. Because there was the Harrison Butker thing with the Chiefs, and then they said that Taylor Swift and Joe Biden and all. No, because we can't talk. No. Anybody watch golf? Bro, look at what you said during the roundtable.
Politics is not really a main topic, but it has its time where we do talk about it when it's on CNN and, everybody's give their opinion about, what's going on. And it's definitely a buzz. I mean, it's definitely a buzz. It's going up.
Now, this comes a question of who you believe. Now, I think it's highly suspect that he didn't know what was going on. But then on the other side of the aisle, you have a man who I just said I would trust the letters LIE on the sidewalk over anything Donald Trump had to say. You just had a man who the CNN fact check of his debate was over 3 minutes long.
My guess, he said, I mean it sincerely, a new record for the most lies told in a single debate.
Just listing off all the stuff that he lied about. So is that the guy who we believe? And this is also somebody that has a history of scams involving us. There was the black church filled with white people, which he left immediately in Detroit to go to White Boy Summer. There was a whole Chick-fil-A setup, which ended up being revealed as that lady had worked for Candace Owens.
4 p.m. We've been 4 p.m.
Come here, let me give you a hug.
Please
And then there was the whole Bronx rally, which was more white people than I've ever seen the Bronx in my entire life. And then if you're talking scams and Donald Trump, that is literally his entire business career. So, this is a tough one. Now, okay, here's a question. How did this even come together?
I feel like I've been betrayed.
Days before the debate, Jones says someone who he thought was a friend reached out to him about being the host site for a small black business roundtable. He says there was never any mention this was a political event. Jones adds he never heard from a Trump campaign representative either. I asked him if the timing of the event raised any flags this would be political.
I honestly didn't think about it. It was just, once you say black small business, give back to the community, it's like, okay, I'm doing it.
Jones says he feels used.
Just be aware that it is election season and the timing seems a little suspect.
That's why he's warning other business owners to have a healthy dose of skepticism.
Even though I trusted that person, I didn't really do the research I should have done, but now I'm letting everybody else know that you need to be aware of these calls.
So somebody that you thought was a friend, who shall remain nameless, reached out about a small business roundtable, and you never heard from the Trump campaign? I need to know, who is this person with these deep connections into the GOP establishment? Is this what Hustle Man is doing now? Is this why we don't never see the DVD man no more? Now, the owner did reveal off camera that he was paid for closing his business, and now says he wants to return the money. Now, the money isn't an issue. He did have to close his business, but if you got paid, that money had to come from somewhere. So you talk to somebody. Did they just hand you cash after the fact? Did they pay you in CVS extra bucks? Oh no, the contract came out. Here you have the signed contract. And if you look, it's dated the day of the event, which actually kind of supports Rocky that he didn't know what was going on. However, the timestamp is before the event started. This ain't looking good, Rocky. This is not looking good, because what it looks like is you tried to jump out the closet and see if it could jumpstart your visibility by connecting yourself to MAGA and put some money in your pocket in the process. And it turns out Atlanta is still Atlanta. And now you're trying to save face. That is what it looks like. Now, the best I can say for you is you did look mad the entire time. That is your best evidence. You do not look like somebody who knew what was going down was going to go down.
So let me say this real quick.
Yes, sir.
To the white supremacy deal. If that's what Donald Trump truly believed, then why would he undo the 94 crime bill? Because when you did that, what you predominantly did is you cut short sentencing of black men because
Well, first of all, I appreciated everybody's opinions here. This is great hearing this. I hope we can do this more often. You know, the founders of this country understood that we would come to a point where our democracy would be challenged. And they left the final solution in the hands of we the people. That's what the vote is all about.
My man looked like me trapped in Easter Sunday service as a kid. Like, we really gonna do this all day? That, I think, is a weird look for something you knew was going to go this way, but the contract is damning. Now, as for Trump, the contract was a good look, validating that this wasn't a scam, but either way, you don't have willing participation. Either one or two things. Either you had to trick them into doing this, or they were so ashamed they did it, they tried to take it back and claimed that they were tricked. Neither of those indicates grassroots black growth.
It's really an amazing thing. Since it happened, the support among the black community and the Hispanic community has skyrocketed. It's been amazing. Really been amazing. It's been actually very nice to see.
And quite frankly, I don't even know which one is better. Like, would you rather have had to trick your prom date into going to the dance with you, or have her be so ashamed that she lies after the fact and tells people that you tricked her into going to the dance with you? I don't know, because I only got experience with one of those.